Really the key man is Carl Mecklenburg. They'll move him around from linebacker. They'll have him at defensive end, and they just seem to move around him as if he's the hub of that defense. A 12th round draft pick a couple of years ago, and he's turned into a fine Pro Bowl football player. It's an exciting football team, a team that's turned on Denver over the entire existence of its franchise, and they have fans from the blue-collar workers to the very famous and celebrated Leon Uris. Recently wrote a guest column in the Denver Post in which he said, "Being a Denver Broncos fan is like being married to my lovely wife, Jill. It's a whole lot of happiness. It's sometimes agony, but baby, it is never gone." It sounds like a good marriage, and we know it's an exciting football team. We think you're going to enjoy our game. Al, not too much happiness for the Pittsburgh Steelers following that opening loss.
I don't have to tell you what the radio call-in shows sound like in this town at this time. Part of the problem, of course, is that there is such a high standard. The Steelers are the only team in NFL history to win 4 Super Bowls. Last year, with a losing mark, their first in 71, they missed the playoffs for only the 3rd time in the last 14 years. They had a very bad preseason, winning only 1 game, and then they were embarrassed last week by Seattle. Final score 30-0. They are probably not that bad, but the people around here want to know if they're any good at all, and if they can contend in the relatively weak but improving AFC Central Division. I think the key to any Steelers' success this season will be the quarterback, Mark Malone. He's been here long enough, and it's time to prove himself. He was the #1 draft choice out of Arizona State in 1980. He had to wait in the wings for years for Terry Bradshaw to retire, and now he's finally been given his shot in the last couple of seasons, but has yet to develop the consistency necessary. The Steelers are hopeful he can begin that guidance tonight. And the Steelers to receive the opening kick as Rich Karlis kicks off for the Broncos, who come off that exciting 38-36 victory. And the breeze here at Three Rivers Stadium blows the ball off the tee. And that's the response from the crowd. So, to a very limited extent, an auspicious beginning for the Steelers tonight. And now Karlis comes forward again, and we're underway in Pittsburgh. Good deep kick, and no run back as Donnie Elder takes care of it in the end zone. And here comes Mark Malone now to lead the Steelers. Malone completing just 50% of his passes last season, and he missed about 40% of the year with a dislocated toe. Last week, a terrible week at Seattle. He was 9 out of 27, worst start of his career. And the Steelers last week generated only 146 yards total offense. So here we go with Pollard and Abercrombie, the running backs, and it's Abercrombie on 1st down, getting nowhere. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Louis Wright comes up to make the tackle. So with Malone, the quarterback, the Denver defense, with Rulon Jones in there tonight despite rib problems. The good linebackers, Mecklenburg, to whom Frank alluded early on, and Wright, the mainstay of that secondary.
Offense, penalties decline, 2nd down.
Ray Penny, illegal motion on the first play, and it was declined. Since it was no gain, Denver takes the play, and the Steelers have it 2nd down, 10. Pollard and Abercrombie, and both have been injured in preseason. Pollard, only 2. Pollard coming off arthroscopic knee surgery as Mecklenburg makes the tackle, and Abercrombie had a septic meningitis earlier this year and a hip pointer.
Al, I think we should point out very early on, so much was made of the surgery, the ruptured disc of Joe Montana, the San Francisco 49er quarterback. We have just been in touch with officials on the West Coast. The damage to the disc was not as extensive as they thought it might be. They, as a matter of fact, will place him on injury reserve, and it could be that he might even be back later in the season. We'll update that if we hear any more from the West Coast.
3rd down and 8. Stallworth in motion. He and Lips were both to the right side, and Malone gets sacked back at the 10-yard line by Simon Fletcher. Number 73, the 2nd-year man out of Houston, and it doesn't take long for the booing to begin. Home opener, first series, and the fans let him have it.
Watch number 73, and this is what Denver likes to do. Dan Reeves will bring in Simon Fletcher. Here he is, getting the sack, and Greg Cragen on the pass rush situation, and it pays off here. And actually, Mark Malone last week, Al, had a lot of time to throw the football. He just didn't connect with those 9 of 27.
High snap. Newsom comes down with it and gets the kick away, and it's a good kick. Taking it at the 39 is Wilhite. A penalty marker is down. Wilhite gets into Pittsburgh territory, gets back to the 41, but a flag was thrown back near the line of scrimmage. And the referee tonight is Bob McElwee.
As usual, we'll have the man downfield, and I would suspect that Denver will want the football. They are in Pittsburgh territory at the 43-yard line.
So McElwee has given us the call. They discussed the options with Tom Jackson. And he says let the offense take over.
Number 36 on the kicking team. Penalty is declined. First down.
First and 10, Denver ball, Pittsburgh.
So the Broncos take over at the 42-yard line. The penalty was against David Hughes, the running back just picked up, playing on the special teams. And meanwhile, here come the Broncos at the Steeler 43-yard line. And Elway to put it up right away. And throws it away. Intended, I believe, for Clint Sampson, who is taking Vance Johnson's place, and they were not on the same page. Sampson was going in, Steve Watson was going deep, and Elway threw a sideline pattern. There are John's figures for last season when he threw more than 600 passes.
When you take a Vance Johnson out of the offense, as he was taken out with that knee injury in the opening game against the Raiders, you lose a lot of things. One of them is the speed. Mark Jackson, a rookie from Purdue, has some speed, but they'll have to think differently without Vance Johnson in the lineup than they did with him in the lineup.
Second and 10, and the Broncos out of the shotgun. Elway, short roll, comes back the other way, looking for Watson, who reaches but can't make the catch. He'd gotten out in front. David Lettle, meanwhile, put the pressure on Elway and decked him as John got rid of it, and Watson, the intended receiver, covered on the play by Harvey Clayton.
John Elway bought the time back there, as he will all night. He'll move around there. He got the time, even under the pressure, to get the pass off. Watson, never known for his speed, just couldn't get there. And also shaken up on that play and still limping but staying in the ballgame is Gerald Wilhite. And Elway was also smashed.
So third down, 10, Elway out of the shotgun. The crowd exhorts the defense as Elway throws and nearly has it intercepted. Almost picked off by Eric Williams. Intended for Steve Sewell.
Elway had to get rid of the football. You see Hinkle, bottom of your screen, coming. You see 41 coming on the safety blitz. That's Sheffield, the rookie. Elway had to throw the football. He tried to hurry it into the tight end, and it was almost picked off. There's Sewell working along the line. It got into the pattern. He actually was open, and Eric Williams, with the pressure, almost picked that off.
So the Broncos can't pick up a first down, and back to receive is Rick Woods with Jack Wheel standing at his own 43-yard line. And angling it for the near side. And it gets there. And they'll line it up, and the Steelers will take over at the 13-yard line. And the crowd doesn't like the spot. They thought it went out closer to the 20. So the Steelers take over again. We're just underway at Three Rivers, Denver and Pittsburgh, and we're scoreless.
Introducing McDonald's NFL Kickoff Payoff.
Oh boy, a new game at McDonald's. I'm so excited. How do you play?
Collect trading cards of all your favorite NFL stars.
Another card.
Each card's a winner. Win a McDonald's sandwich, fries, or Coca-Cola.
New winners every week. But you got only 1 week to turn in your winning cards. So hustle.
NFL Kickoff Payoff.
Follow me. At McDonald's. I know a shortcut.
The legendary Mercedes-Benz SL Coupe Roadster. To every reason you ever had for wanting to drive it, you can now add one more. A mighty 5.6-liter light alloy V8 engine. 227 horsepower. Infinite driving excitement. The Mercedes-Benz 560 SL.
For 3 years, Bryant has been paying people back for their highest month's gas bill. This year, we're doubling the deal. 2 months of free gas when you buy our Plus 90 gas furnace. We can do this for 2 reasons. Gas is economical, and the Plus 90 is so efficient, it uses less gas. So cash in on our double deal. Call 800-HOT-SALE for your Bryant dealer. And if you get a busy signal, call again.
Gas, America's best energy value.
So no score early on, first quarter, as the Pittsburgh Steelers were forced to punt. The Broncos took over in Steeler territory. They couldn't move. Chuck Noll in his 18th season, the only coach with 4 Super Bowl rings. But, as to be expected in modern society, I suppose, somewhat under fire, at least by the fans here, who've been disappointed in the way the Steelers have played through the preseason, and certainly last week at Seattle. Malone on 1st and 10. Throwing toward the near side and completing it at the 29-yard line to Lewis Lips, who was shut out last week, and Louis Wright covers him on the play. And they salute him with Lou.
Hard to believe he was shut out, because he is one of the finest receivers to come up in many years. And here he works against Louis Wright and makes Louis back up and think deep, and then plants that foot, breaks it to the outside. Louis Wright was right there. Good defensive coverage, as a matter of fact, against the speedster Wright, because if you get against Lips, because if you do not cover him that way, he's going to beat you deep. He is the big man now. John Stallworth mostly works underneath, and he has adapted also to that role.
Meanwhile, they are going to review. When you see that walkie-talkie, that's the cue that Al Conway, who is the umpire, is talking to Paul Trapinski upstairs. And again, this does come under the auspices of the replay official. It's his call to make.
2 things to remember here. Did he come down with both feet in bounds, and was he hit that forced him out of bounds, and he was unable to come down with both feet in bounds?
I thought both feet were in. We'll see it again from this angle. I thought he...
By the replay official, the play stands. First down.
It's the right call. You can see it. 1 foot down, and the other he gets his toe down.
Nobody is better, by the way, at doing that than Louis Lips. He does it well in the end zone. They like to, when they get down around the 20-yard line, they like to use him in the end zone, and he has done that over and over in his brief career.
On 1st and 10 from the 29, it's Pollard out to the 33. Tom Jackson makes the stop. They are not what you would call scintillating running backs here in Pittsburgh, Frank, but they do get the job done. Pollard and Abercrombie. The question is health.
Well, last year they gained over 1,800 yards between them, but again, it is health. Abercrombie, of course, with a hip pointer coming into tonight, and you already mentioned the fact that he had had meningitis. Pollard recovering from July 15th knee surgery, and what Denver wants to do is to stop the running game if they can, and nevertheless, Pittsburgh is being able to move the ball, and if they can stop the running game, they can take away the play-action pass. That's what they like to do.
2nd and 6, and it's dropped by Lips.
And you better cover that man.
Covered by Wright, but it was right there. So an uncharacteristic drop for a man, as we said, held without a reception for only the 2nd time in his 3-year pro career last week at Seattle.
Again, Louis Wright covering him right there. Bump and run. Now he has to let go at 5 yards. That's the last area in which he can hit him. A ball that he should have caught with his kinds of hands. But again, Louis Wright with good coverage on one of the best receivers in this game.
So 3rd down and 6, and Rich Ehrenberg comes in. That's he in the slot to the right, and he's playing with a slightly separated shoulder. Stallworth comes in motion. He and Lips are both to the right side. Malone looking over the middle and underthrows it at the 50-yard line. Intended for Lips, so he goes Louis' way 3 times on this drive, but the Steelers are forced to punt again.
Well, Lips was getting single coverage on all 3 attempts to him, so Malone was going to the right man. He just did not get the ball there on that occasion, and the time before, it was a pass that Lips should have caught.
Wilhite back to receive. Newsom, who had a bad year last year, but won the job back and had a good week outside of 1 block at Seattle, gets off a poor kick, but it takes a good Steeler bounce. And I believe it was touched a moment ago, or have they? Yes, they have. At the 22-yard line, he dropped the beanbag, so even though the Steelers down it at the 13, Donnie Elder winds up costing them 9 yards as he makes contact at the 22-yard line, and back comes Elway and the Broncos.
8 long years of development have created the Mercedes-Benz 300E. It moves from 0 to 55 in a stunning 7.5 seconds. It moves performance sedan engineering into a new dimension. And it returns to 0 with computerized ABS anti-lock brakes. The 300e sedan.
Just as proud as the people who are drinking it today. Where I come from, folks don't say too much, but you know where they stand. A place where doing what you say you will is part of being a man. Where people understand what's right and wrong, and you know they're sincere. It's where your word is your word, a friend's a friend. Miller's a beer. Miller made the American way, born and brewed in the USA. Just as proud as the people who are drinking it today.
Miller contains no additives or preservatives. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Miller's made the American way.
The Cincinnati Bengals, guided by the hot hand of Boomer Esiason. The Cleveland Browns. Bernie Kosar hopes he can match the firepower. An ABC Thursday night NFL special.
Danny Reeves, the former Mr. Everything Dallas Cowboy back and a longtime coach under Tom Landry there, knows that the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are not flamboyant, but they can beat you. He was 13-3 in '84 with the Denver Bronco team, and the Pittsburgh Steelers came and beat them in Denver to knock them out of the playoffs. He has a lot of respect for them.
From the 22-yard line, they said Winder in motion and give it to Lang, and Lang out past the 30 to the 31-yard line. We know about Elway, of course, and we know about the Denver receivers, even minus Vance Johnson, as Lang goes hobbling off the field. The big question about the Denver offense, of course, is the running game. Can they get that in gear? Winder had a 1,000-yard year a couple of years back, but was besieged by injuries last year. And now Lang goes hobbling off here, and Gerald Wilhite is in there in place of him, number 47, with Winder the tailback in this formation. 2nd and 1. Winder goes in motion again, and the Steelers jump, and this should be a free play unless it was whistled dead as Wilhite takes it out to the 36. In any event, it should be a first down for Denver.
That 9-yard run, by the way, by Gene Lang.
Tight end, number 88.
He was drawn off. Clarence Kay drew him off.
Kay drawing off the Steelers, so they'll back the Broncos up. But that 9-yard pickup by Lang a moment ago was longer than any run they had in their Raider game. It'll give you an idea how tough that game was.
You know, one of the odd things about that game, Frank, is that when you looked at the score 38-36, you figured that the Broncos must have picked up 450, 500 yards total offense. Actually, only 290. Got some breaks, ran a fumble in for a touchdown.
And they got some very opportune penalties against the Raiders.
2nd down and 6. And with Sewell going in motion on a reverse, Winder hands it to Sewell, coming back this way. Sewell moves to the outside of the 30 and takes it to the 35-yard line where he's stopped by Harvey Clayton. So Sewell, the man who threw the option touchdown pass back to Elway last week, he can do a lot of things out there.
Good all-around athlete out of Oklahoma, #1 draft pick a year ago. He can throw the ball, he can catch the ball, he can run with the football. And Danny Reeves believes in the gadget plays. He has several of them. You're going to see them in almost every game. What it does, it makes you think. It slows your defense down in their pursuit. They can't look at a play developing and think it's going to be a sweep, because something like that's going to happen. You're going to come back against the grain. So it just makes the defense hesitate for just a moment, and sometimes you can get a big play out of it.
He sends Watson in motion, sends Watson deep, and then throws over the middle underneath to Gerald Wilhite, who takes it to the 43-yard line. Wilhite has always been a good receiver. David Little, number 50, the linebacker out of Florida, the man filling the spot once occupied by Jack Lambert, makes the tackle.
Elway was thinking deep. He had Clint Sampson on a fly pattern, watched it develop. He had the time, and when he ran out of time and the coverage was on Sampson, he just dumped it off underneath the Wilhite.
Broncos and the Steelers with no score, 9 minutes and 25 seconds to play in the first quarter. Broncos 1-0, Steelers come in 0-1 as the two teams wrap up week 2. Wilhite in motion, Sammy Winder through the middle, past the 45, and fumbles the ball at the 47-yard line. And the Steelers have it. So a big break as Eric Williams comes up from the safety spot. There he is, the man who nearly had the interception before, winds up with a fumble recovery.
Look at it again. It's trying to get through the line of scrimmage and all that traffic. Winder tries to break it loose. Hinkle was there and batted it out of his hands, and Eric Williams was all over it. We'll see it better from a reverse angle, I'm sure. Here's the handoff. Hinkle coming from his linebacking position on the right side. Gets a hand in there. Out it comes, and Eric Williams is there. So the Steelers taking a page out of the play of the Denver Broncos defense. They get the turnover, and they get it in Bronco territory.
1st and 10, Pittsburgh at the Denver 47-yard line. And they have Hughes in there, and he goes in motion, and he blocks for Abercrombie, who takes it to the 45-yard line. Another look at Williams, who's been in on 2 big plays already tonight, the missed intercept and then the fumble recovery. He had an interception last week against Seattle in a game in which the Steelers, as you see, were across the 50-yard line only twice. Never so much as attempted a field goal.
And it was a long time between crossings, too. I think their first drive took them over their deepest penetration.
2nd and 8, they give it to Hughes, who gets to the 40-yard line. David Hughes, the former Seahawk, waved by them, and with Abercrombie and Pollard hurting and Ehrenberg with that separated shoulder, they had to go to the waiver wire for Hughes out of Seattle, and then they picked up another running back this week, Chuck Sanders, who'd been released by San Diego. And this moves uncharacteristic of Chuck Noll.
It is. He had no other choice. We've already talked about Abercrombie, the problems he has had. Septic meningitis, Pollard with the problem knee. And a couple of weeks ago, Noel was saying, I'm going to need a truckload of running backs if things don't change around here.
3rd and 3, they have Weezy Thompson in as an extra receiver. He takes the pass and gets the first down. The 6'6", 210-pounder out of Florida State is stopped by Louis Wright, and the Steelers convert on 3rd down. It's 1st and 10.
Key to that was the pass protection. They gave Malone time, and we'll watch Weezy. He's man-to-man now with Louis Wright, number 20. They are working on Louis. They are getting him in a man-to-man situation. That drive to the inside by Weezy just carried Louis with him. He was able to break it back out, and the time that Malone was given enabled him to complete that ball. It's a slow developing play.
1st and 10, Steelers at the Bronco 33. No score. 7:12 to go in the period, and the pass intended for Abercrombie is incomplete as Malone goes down. Tom Jackson, who is the oldest starting linebacker in the league at the age of 35, decked him.
And a couple of gray hairs in here tonight. The Donnie Shell, the strong safety for the Steelers, is also 34. He's the oldest starting defensive back.
Second and 10. Steelers at the Bronco 33. Steelers trying to cash in off the fumble by Sammy Winder. Abercrombie, and nothing happening over that way. Andre Townsend is there, number 61, the third-year man out of Mississippi. And Hughes comes back in now for Pittsburgh, along with Ehrenberg, as Abercrombie goes out on 3rd and long. It's 3rd and 9 at the 32-yard line. Calvin Sweeney is in the game, and he's wide left, but Malone looks the other way and throws, and it's nearly picked off. Lips on a crossing pattern got hung up, and Ehrenberg out of the backfield was in traffic, and it was nearly picked off by number 22, Tony Lilly, the nickelback.
Lilly, who has really been pressing the free safety, Steve Foley, was right in there. He should have picked it off. There's no question. What it really was a trailer underneath the Ehrenberg. He was coming in behind Louis Lips and John Stallworth. Stallworth actually was the open man, and Malone again could feel the pressure. You saw it coming in from behind him on the right side. Well, he could feel the hot breath, and he knew he had to get rid of it.
Now, Gary Anderson, one of the best, but a 50-yard attempt, his career best is 55, and the kick is long enough, but it is wide. He had the distance, but not the accuracy, and thus the Steelers come off the field, not able to capitalize on the Winder fumble. 6:20 to go in a scoreless first period.
Just as proud as the people who are drinking it today. Steelers made the American way, born and brewed in the USA. Just as proud as the people who are drinking it today. Steelers made the American way.
Miller contains no additives or preservatives. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Steelers made the American way. To know no boundaries, to let yourself run free. No boundaries is what the world should be.
Wherever there are investment opportunities, Merrill Lynch is there with the help you need to make the most of them. Because at Merrill Lynch, we believe your world should know no boundaries.
To know no boundaries.
The Mercedes-Benz Driving Simulator, a laboratory that moves. Computerized hydraulics producing realistic driving forces. Computerized projectors creating a lifelike driving world. Allowing engineers to analyze the responses of ordinary drivers in extraordinary moments. Duplicating any driving situation in total safety. Mercedes-Benz continues to learn the secrets of automotive science. And the automotive world continues to learn from Mercedes-Benz.
I'm David Hartman in the Philippines. Now that Marcos is gone, can Corazon Aquino make democracy work here? We'll learn more this week on Good Morning America.
Quarterback Mark Malone probably talking with Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator upstairs, who found the only man on that last play that was double covered. Wide open to Stallworth, and out of the backfield, Ehrenberg had attracted a pair of defenders, and Malone tried to force it in there, almost had it picked off, and they had to settle for that long field goal attempt.
1st and 10 as Elway throws on first down to Sampson, who's taking the place of Vance Johnson, and he gets it out to the 40-yard line. Stopped by Harvey Clayton. Sampson will see a lot of action now in Johnson's absence. He got a chance to start a couple of years back, but couldn't maintain it. Dropped passes and was pretty much relegated to a reserve role, but the injury has now changed that. He did have a good night against the Steelers last year in the meeting between these two teams, catching 4 passes, including 1 for a touchdown.
They have him in there when they really have a lot of speed, and a rookie from Purdue named Mark Jackson. They have Sampson in there, I think, primarily because he has the experience.
2nd and 2 as they send Sewell in motion, and Lang pitches it back in the free flicker to Elway, who throws back to Sewell, and it's a first down.
Well-designed play. That was designed for the touchdown, but it also, as we mentioned earlier, being one of the gadget plays, it had a checkoff. And Elway looks quickly to Watson, who had taken it deep. The first look, you'll see Elway take us downfield. That was to see Watson, who he was well covered. The Steelers reading it all the way, but he had that checkoff man. In other words, he didn't have to throw it away, and he was able to go to the checkoff man, Sewell, and still get the first down.
Gotta love the Broncos already tonight. Double reverse, flea flicker. They pick up the first down, 1st and 10.
Makes you hesitate, Al, on defense.
At their
Very
own
effective.
49-yard line as Sammy Winder doesn't go anywhere. And it'll be 2nd down and 12. David Little is there, and also Edmund Nelson, 5th-year man out of Auburn.
You know, the Steelers were 7-9, a losing season for the first time since 1972 last year, but they were rated 6th defensively in the entire league. Where they have their problem is getting the points up on the board. They're 12th against the rush, but they were 2nd against the pass, and yet they didn't do that well in sack totals, having only 36 when the Giants led the league with 68. But they're a fine pass defensive team. Great linebacking on the outside.
Elway out of the shotgun. There was movement in the line, but no flag, and Elway gets sacked back at the 40-yard line.
Whistle had blown. They were all over Elway. Steeler fans all excited. They thought they might have got the football back. Somebody ripped it out of there, and Gary Dunn came out of the pile with the ball, but the sack will be back at around the 40-yard line. This time, John couldn't get away. See linebacker Robin Cole, number 56, is there. The Steelers are using a lot of blitzing, and it is dangerous because Elway can spin away from it, and you'll usually find individual coverage. There's Gary Dunn covering the ball. The whistle had blown when Elway was in the grasp. But they brought Brian Hinkle, and they brought Robin Cole on the blitz.
Third down, 19. Denver from its own 40. No score. 4:25 to go in the period. Noisy crowd. Elway shouting to be heard.
Safety blitz.
Flag down as the pass is completed to the 50-yard line to Sampson. He is well shy of the first down. It looked like sort of an uncoordinated snap, and I'm wondering if the crowd didn't have an effect right there. You can see Elway shouting to be heard, and offside is the call, but it's against Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh was coming with a safety blitz, if you will. Actually, they were bringing Chris Sheffield, the rookie from Albany State. Watch 41, bottom of your screen. Now, somebody got a little jump on it, and I think it was the rookie,
Offside.
Sheffield.
Number 41, defense.
He was just a little eager, filling in for Dwayne Woodruff. And that will keep it alive for Denver.
We saw Woodruff get hurt in that preseason game we did in Dallas, and he got hurt on the punt return unit.
Tough injury to Woodruff, one of their fine defensive backs, probably the best one they have, but a great opportunity for young Chris Sheffield, a rookie free agent from Albany State.
Third down and 14. They have to get to the Steeler 41, and Elway looking for a lot more to Watson. Watson comes back but can't make the catch. Harvey Clayton was surrounding him, but Watson was able to come back on the underthrown ball and nearly come down with it.
You got to love Steve Watson. He does not have the speed to be doing what he's been doing. Now, this is from the reverse angle, you'll see Watson come back to it. That play designed, by the way, to get Elway out in the flat. The coverage there by Harvey Clayton. This is a ball he certainly should have caught because he came back and Clayton had overrun the ball. But again, the play designed well. We're seeing some unusual offensive plays by Denver, but I said at the very top of the show they are an unusual football team. That was a rolling pocket, if you will, and Elway was behind it. Just couldn't get the ball quite far enough to Watson.
Jack Wheel, and that is the way he pronounces it, W-E-I-L, and Rick Woods is back to receive at his own 15-yard line. 3:43 to go in the period.
That's a beauty.
Taken at the 12 by Woods. Past the 20, out of bounds at the 24-yard line. And so Malone and the Steelers take over with 3 minutes and 33 seconds to go in the first quarter. In Pittsburgh, the Broncos and the Steelers, 0-0.
IBM presents You Make the Call. Jim McMahon of the Bears passes to Dennis McKinnon, who deflects the ball into the end zone where it is intercepted by David Greenwood of the Buccaneers, who then rolls untouched into the field of play. Now you make the call. Where do you spot the ball?
Computers? Who's got time?